professional registration is being called to order. Ashley, call the roll.
Chairman Brown.
Here.
Senator Berger.
Here.
Senator Brown. Senator Huff. Senator Lewis. Here. Senator McCreary. Here. Senator Shore.
Here.
We have a quorum. Today we're going to be hearing 3 bills, but before we do that, we're going to move into executive session. I think we have 1 bill to vote on. I make a motion to move into executive session. I have a second. I have a second. I move that Senate Bill 988 be brought before the committee. Do I have a second? I have a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. Bills before the committee. This was Senator Ben Brown. He presented Senate Bill 988 last week, which was a dental compact. I believe that the senator has a substitute. He's not here. What?
He's not here. I don't know what.
He's not here to distribute that, so I guess we won't adopt the committee substitute, and he can wait on that. Huh? Okay, so if you guys are comfortable with it, you've read it. Okay, that's fine. All right. So this committee substitute's been distributed. I guess there's no explanation on that. I now move for the adoption of committee substitute. Do I have a second? I have a second. Is there any discussion on that? Hearing none. All those in favor of adopting committee substitute say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The substitute is adopted. I now move that Senate Bill 988, as amended by the committee substitute, be voted out. Do pass. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Any discussion on that? Hearing none. Ashley, call the roll to vote.
Chairman
Senate
Brown.
Aye.
Senator Berger.
Aye.
Senator Brown. Senator Huff. Senator Lewis. Aye. Senator McCreary. Aye. Senator Shore.
Aye.
5-0.
By your vote of 5-0, the motion passes. I now move that we go out of executive session. We have a second. We're out of executive session. First bill up out of the 3 today, Senate Bill 993. Senator Henderson, whenever you're ready. I'll be right back.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee members. For the record, Mike Henderson, State Senator from the 3rd Senatorial District, presenting Senate, and I'd like to do the sub, if I could, talk about the substitute. I think it's been distributed. All of you should have that substitute. And if you don't, maybe they can get you a copy up there. I've actually got 1 extra copy, I think, down here. But we've distributed a substitute. Okay. This is the hemp-infused beverages. This act creates licenses for hemp beverages manufacturers, hemp beverage wholesalers, and hemp beverage retailers. Manufacturers, wholesalers, and retailers holding any of the 3 types of hemp beverage licenses and cannot hold either of the other 2 types of. So in other words, it's got the 3-tier system built into it. The language closely follows the 3-tier regulatory system for alcoholic beverages under the regulation of the Division of Alcohol and Tobacco Control, and is similar to Senate Bill 54 proposed last session. Any holder of one of the hemp licenses cannot hold a marijuana facility license. Hemp beverages are required to be manufactured in the United States. Hemp beverages cannot contain more than 0.3% of tetrahydrocannabinol, and that's probably not said correctly, concentration on a dry weight basis. Hemp beverage retailers must hold an active license allowing it to sell alcoholic beverages. The Act specifies the qualifications to receive a license, fees for licensure, and the application process, as well as the health, safety, permissible ingredients, testing, and transportation standards. The Act also outlines the packaging and labeling requirements for hemp beverages. Any hemp beverage manufacturer or wholesaler who violates such health and safety standards or permits its employers, officers, or agents to do so will be guilty of a misdemeanor and upon conviction will be subject to specified fines. This Act prohibits the sale of hemp beverages to anyone under the age of 21. I think that's very important to me. Anyone who sells hemp beverages shall also be 21 years old. A manufacturer, wholesaler, or retailer of a hemp beverage product shall not advertise, market, or offer for sale of the product by using in the labeling or design of the product or product packaging or in advertising or marketing materials for the product, trade dress, trademarks, branding, or other related materials, any imagery or scenery that depicts or signifies characters or symbols known to appeal primarily to people under 21. In other words, you can't advertise it to kids. To put it real simple, you can't, you can't advertise this to kids. We've got to stop that practice where it looks like it's some kind of candy or some kind of drink that would appeal to kids, and we can't have it being done that way. The Department of Health and Senior Services have responsibilities for packaging, labeling, and testing requirements, as well as registering all the hemp beverage products. The Division of Alcohol and Tobacco Control have responsibilities for licensing and enforcement of all hemp beverage products. Hemp-derived products fund is established and shall consist of all fees authorized to be charged by the department and department, division, and department to support the hemp beverage products regulatory system. Hemp beverages cannot be shipped directly to consumers, but may be delivered by a retailer or delivery service provider. The division shall establish the rules. That's similar to what we did with during COVID with some alcoholic drinks. Multi-serving hemp beverages shall be bottled in a 1.75 milliliter resealable container with container servings measured in no less than 1.5 ounces and no more than 10 milligrams of tetra-noble per serving. Single serve hemp beverages can have no more than 10 milligrams of this same in their container and contain no more than 1 serving per container. Hemp beverages may be sold for on-site consumption containing no more than 5 milligrams per serving and are prohibited from being mixed with alcoholic beverages. Under this act, retailers and wholesalers shall have 120 days beginning August 28, 2026 to sell any hemp beverages products in inventory as of August 28, 2026, provided such products comply with the provisions of this act. Any remaining products not removed from the inventory shall be subject to forfeiture, destruction as described in the act. Under this act, an excise tax at a rate of 7% shall be imposed on the retail sale of hemp beverage products. So basically what we're trying to do here is really tighten it up. You got to be 21, you got to be 21 to serve them, and trying to do some things to try to make them in a more controlled circumstance. I'd be happy to answer questions, but I think there are going to be a lot of people who probably can answer it in more detail behind me.
Thank you, Senator. Any questions of this senator? Senator Brown.
Just, can you touch on some of the differences between the sub and the bill as originally filed?
I do. And that'll take a little bit here. I'll go through them.
Sure.
It adds enforcement authority for the supervisor of alcohol, tobacco, and control in Section 311.630. Adds language relating to delivery services in Section 3.12.10. Adds unfinished hemp extract in addition to or in place of hemp concentrate. Changes any combination of the three to any allowable combination thereof in Section 312. It removes hemp beverage wholesalers from Section 312. It adds not after has in Section 312, so some of it's just grammatical changes we're trying to make. Adds per location after the licensing fee and removes the cap for entities with multiple locations in Section 312. Adds rules promulgation authority for the Department of Health and Senior Services in Section 312, and adds dispute resolution provisions in Section 312, and adds the department following the division in Section 312, and changes hemp business to hemp beverage manufacturers in 312, and adds, I'm sorry, this is going to take a little bit longer, adds language relating to health and safety, adds, and the division after the department. Most of the rest, I think, let me look through it real quick, I think are just grammatical.
Yeah, and if it's just a grammatical change, you can skip
Most of the
over
rest, I
those.
think, are grammatical changes. Let me make sure, because I don't want to tell you wrong.
Sure.
Let me look real quick. It modifies a little bit one section relating to inducements dealing with kids. But most of it is what I would consider, I'm not trying to mislead you, let's be cleanup language.
Thank you.
Any other questions of the senator? Moving on to anyone testifying in support of, please. Make sure you fill out your witness form, place it on the desk. Proceed when ready.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. David Jackson here as a registered lobbyist on behalf of the Hemp Beverage Alliance. I appreciate the opportunity to testify today. The Hemp Beverage Alliance is a national coalition and trade association that represents the farmers, the beverage manufacturers, the distributors, the retailers in the hemp beverage space. And I want to start by acknowledging what many of you are dealing with right now, and that there's real and justified pressure on this body to crack down on bad actors. Specifically within the hemp space, there are certainly gas stations, pop-up hemp shops that are not licensed like alcohol retailers that are selling high-potency gummies, inhalants, and products that are poorly labeled, sometimes marketed to kids, and in many cases unsafe. Those products should not be on the market, and they should be shut down. The Hemp Beverage Alliance agrees with you on that. But the key point today is that the problem is not the hemp beverage industry. And if we're not careful, we'll solve the wrong problem with the wrong tool. As you've seen in packets I've handed out to all of you for your districts or the counties within your district, you represent hundreds of licensed alcohol retailers, grocery stores, convenience stores, restaurants, bars. Many of you also represent alcohol wholesalers and distributors who have built their business around compliance, age verification, testing, labeling, and responsible distribution. By comparison, the number of licensed marijuana dispensaries in your district is very small. I know you're under heavy pressure to force these hemp beverages or hemp products in general to be sold within the dispensary system. And we want to be respectful, but this is a really important distinction. When it comes to hemp beverages, we see this, we want to make sure that we're looking at consumer protection, not market protection. The marijuana industry has pending legislation that would force all of these to go within their system. And our point today is really to draw a distinction around the beverage market and why we believe the beverage market is much different. The hemp beverage space is a completely different category. In this bill, they're capped at 10 milligrams per serving, sold in cans or bottles, clearly labeled, and consumed socially by adults. These are not inhaled. They're not concentrated. They're not candy. And they're designed to deliver, and they're not designed to deliver extreme intoxication. A useful way to think about this is simple. Hemp beverages are the beer or seltzer of this space, while marijuana products are the hard liquor. They're the same plant family, but an entirely different dose, use, and consumer behavior. So when you look at a drink, a hemp beverage drink of 10 milligrams, by comparison, your average joint that you may get at a dispensary is 150 milligrams. And so you're looking at a completely different consumer and category in a much different experience that is slow and controlled. I can't speak on behalf of the marijuana industry, but I do, from what I have heard, this represents, the beverages themselves represent about 1% to 2% of their sales. Dispensaries are not set up to handle beverage logistics, refrigeration, turnover, or volume. It's just not their business model. The beverage industry is, and Senate Bill 993 recognizes this reality. This draws a clear line between the high-potency products that belong in tightly controlled marijuana system and low-dose hemp beverages that should be regulated like other age-restricted drinks. It places beverages under regulators who already oversee alcohol while still allowing the state to aggressively shut down unsafe products elsewhere in the hemp market. This isn't about weakening enforcement. This is about targeting enforcement correctly. If everything gets lumped together, the bad actors win. But if you draw the right lines, Missouri can protect consumers, small business, and regulate this space intelligently. And that's why we ask for you to support Senate Bill 993. We've handed a variety of different materials and FAQs regarding the beverage industry and why we think this should be treated much differently than the other hemp products.
Thank you for your testimony. Any questions of this witness? Senator Lewis, proceed.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So, are the hemp beverages currently allowed to be consumed in the retail market, like at liquor stores or
Yes, ma'am. These are on the shelves.
bars
Yes, ma'am.
for consumption?
Correct. So these
Okay.
are being sold right now. They're currently allowed pursuant to federal law and the federal farm bill. Now the feds have extended a deadline and are working on federal legislation, and this would be contingent on federal law. We're certainly not advocating that anybody could sell anything that's not legally pursuant to federal law. But currently right now there are hemp beverages being sold at a variety of big retailers, your Total Wines, your Randall's, ABC, and you have them in restaurants and bars all throughout your district, Macadoodles, and so they're currently all over your district.
Okay, and then how does this align with what they're doing on the federal level? Is this like with the updates with the farm
Yeah, so basically this would be pursuant to federal law. And what we want to do here is create a regulatory framework specifically for beverages that carves and treats beverages as a different category. The feds have, a year to figure out how they're going to regulate hemp. If the feds defer to the states and say, this is pursuant to state law, this would create a safe regulatory framework around beverages. If the feds say all hemp is banned, then all hemp is banned. And obviously it's a little more complicated than that, but ultimately this is contingent on federal law.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
Any other questions of this, Senator Brown?
Just out of curiosity, would this apply to businesses such as restaurants, bars, or is this limited to just retail outlets like your grocery stores, gas stations?
I believe the way this is structured is anybody with an alcohol license with the state.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions of this witness? Next one to testify in support of. Again, make sure you have your witness form filled out, please. Thank you. Proceed when ready.
Perfect. Thank you. Good morning. I'd like to thank the committee for the time this morning. My name is Andrew Fechtel. I manage the sales and operations of my family's beer distribution business here in Jefferson City. I appear before you today not just as a business manager, but as a member of a family who's operated within Missouri's regulatory framework for 4 generations. My family stood before committees just like this one for decades, advocating for the integrity of our state's liquor laws. We've always been proud partners with the Division of Alcohol and Tobacco Control because we both understand a fundamental truth that intoxicating beverages are not like other products. They require a higher level of commitment, a deeper sense of responsibility, and an unwavering respect for the safety of our communities. THC beverages are intoxicating beverages, and to allow them to be sold in the market unregulated is irresponsible and dangerous. It's particularly so when the state has a proven regulatory model that's protected consumers and citizens for nearly a century, our laws and regulations regarding alcohol. You can argue the legal nuances of the 2018 Farm Bill, but my focus is on the Missouri consumer. Today, hemp-derived THC beverages are being sold without age restrictions. They have varying levels of consistency within labeling. There's no lab testing, and there's no state oversight. SB993 fills that dangerous regulatory vacuum. There's also discussion regarding, I think you asked a question a minute ago about the federal level, about waiting for federal clarity on the definition of hemp. Respectfully, I don't believe Missouri can wait for those things and wait for Washington, D.C. While the federal definition may shift, the reality is on Missouri shelves today is a wild west of unregulated products. But every day I see how the 3-tier system works and how it adds accountability to the system. We know where every bottle comes from, we know where every bottle goes to, and SB 993 brings that same transparency to hemp-derived beverages. For nearly a century, our alcohol regulations have been fine-tuned to prioritize public safety. Hemp-derived THC beverages are new, and with that comes uncertainty. And the most responsible path forward is to allow this emerging industry to operate within a system that's protected Missourians, to allow the category to learn from a century of lessons in the responsible distribution of intoxicating beverages. I respectfully urge a due pass on SB 993.
I have a couple questions. What percentage of your business is this? Can you tell me that?
Zero. We're one of the very few distributors in the state right now that hasn't taken on any hemp THC beverages. So we don't do those, but I do believe for us to be involved with them, there has to be some sort of regulation. I just can't look at a customer and say, this is okay for you to do right now.
Well, my second question was going to be, how did you decide which product to sell? But that's
Yeah, I can tell you right now that we are looking at some. I mean, I'm not saying we're going to stay out forever. If this becomes a viable category that promotes social, responsible use, we definitely would get into it. But we would be looking for the types of things that are in here, testing requirements. We'd be looking for suppliers that have a reputation. Boulevard Brewing Company, for example, just got into this business, and they're somebody we've partnered with for 30 years, right? Okay. So that's who we would be looking for.
Any questions of this witness? Thank you for your testimony.
Thank you.
Next witness to testify in support of, please come forwards.
Committee Chair, committee members, my name is John Grady. I'm testifying for myself, veterans, and also my wife owns a company called Slap Happy Beverage. We are a hemp beverage manufacturer, the smallest in the state of Missouri, and we also Missouri's first hemp general store that we operate in Rosebud, Missouri, where we offer our beverages in a lounge setting. One of the things we see, we really appreciate the senator and his bill, and we're in support of it. We do have some issues. We don't like the alcohol portion of the alcohol license because we open our establishment as alcohol-free. That kind of goes against our rights to I'm fine with the licensing. I've proposed licensing before, so I would like to see some caveats there. I'd also like to see a caveat go towards the low-dose gummies that we've seen, the 10 milligram and below, because we have so many people that do come in for those, that utilize those. The same people that come in for the beverages, for nightcaps, come in for those gummies. Just like we see in the alcohol industry, there are alcohol gummies out there now currently. So I should have the same opportunity as the alcohol industry does. And I ask that we look through the framework and mirror more of the alcohol industry framework, because we have things in there like 21 years and old to sell, when in alcohol it's 18 and above. And some of the things from a manufacturer standpoint, because of where we are in Missouri, there's very few breweries that are taking this on right now. We have actually gone to Minnesota. We use a DEA-registered, ISO-certified lab. That's something that none of the marijuana industry in the state of Missouri can say. Ours is fully regulated, tested, and done on self-regulation in the free market. We really do appreciate this bill. Like I said, we see some changes that should be done, hopefully done on the floor, but we really support this, and I'll be able to answer any questions, like I said, as a farmer, manufacturer, and retailer.
Thank you for your testimony. Any questions of this witness? Senator Brown, proceed.
So I just kind of thinking out loud here to a certain extent. Maybe this is something best answered by the sponsor. But you had me thinking, like, as someone that owned a restaurant and bar, I know there's different types of liquor license you apply for, whether it's retail by the glass versus other methods. I'm wondering if this would be a separate and distinct license for just the hemp beverages, or if that would be tied in with any of the other licenses currently used to sell alcohol? Or is that something that would be promulgated after the fact?
I think we give them I think that's why we're setting up the rules portion of this.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions of this witness? Thank you for your testimony. Next witness to testify in support of, please come forwards. Begin when you're ready.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. My name is Ron Leone, and I'm the Executive Director for the Missouri Petroleum and Convenience Association, and that means I represent many of your constituents who own, operate, or supply gas stations, convenience stores, and truck stops. For several years now, Mr. Chairman, I've been standing in front of your committee and others supporting legislation which allows Missouri retailers, my members, to sell any and all hemp-derived products that are authorized and lawful under federal law. Conversely, we have strongly opposed legislation supported by the Missouri marijuana monopoly, which prohibits the retail sale of these federally authorized and lawful hemp-derived products unless, of course, they are sold exclusively in their marijuana dispensaries. Now, we all know that in late 2025, Congress passed legislation which will essentially prohibit most of these hemp-derived products at retail as of sometime, I think, in November of this year, November 12th or something of that nature. However, there's plenty of chatter in D.C. that I'm hearing from our national partners that there is a substantial likelihood that Congress will, in fact, amend that law to allow the sale of some hemp-derived products among the states, or they might actually kick the can down the road a little bit and extend that sunset from November of this year to November of 27 or later. We support Senate Bill 993 because it will allow my members, your constituents, to sell low-dose hemp-derived beverages that are authorized and lawful under federal law. What one of the other members or what of the other witnesses have said, and we support, is that we would like this committee to consider expanding the bill to allow my members to sell any and all hemp-derived products that are authorized under federal law, so that your constituents, my members, can compete with the other 49 states, most importantly our 8 border states, who will be able to sell any and all lawful hemp-derived products that are authorized by Congress. So we definitely support the bill and thank the sponsor for putting it in. ask you as policymakers to consider expanding it and trusting your constituents, your small business owners, to be able to sell whatever Congress allows, whatever that is, into the future. So we're asking you to consider that as an amendment to the bill. Mr. Chairman, I appreciate the opportunity. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions for the witness? Oh, hearing none. Next witness to testify in favor of, whenever you're ready.
How about the old guy?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Michael Gibbons representing Total Wine and More in support of the bill. We have 9 stores across the state from St. Louis to Kansas City, also in Springfield. And in the alcohol business, the number of adults consuming alcohol is dropping at a pretty significant rate, except in 2 categories: non-alcoholic beverages and hemp-infused beverages. It's a place that is really seeing some significant growth as people look for alternatives to alcohol. Total Wine and More is very supportive of the bill. This bill is very consistent with how we operate our business and how we believe all responsible retailers do or should operate their business, in that very, very strict age gating. For our stores, you can't come in unless you're 21, unless you're with a parent. You can't buy anything in there, parent or not, unless you're 21 years of age. As a company, we are very, very comfortable with the low dose, the 10 milligram or less, that's contemplated in this bill, because we think that its effect physiologically is very similar to alcohol. People understand how to handle that, how to know how it's impacting them. We would contrast that with things that you would otherwise consume, which may have a significant delay before you feel the impact. You eat a gummy, nothing happens, you have 4 more, and next thing you know, you're on the table or under the table. So we think that this is really an appropriate way to move forward, very supportive of the legislation. And we think that if the federal government does allow this to continue, that it's important for Missouri to have a regulated environment. This regulated environment is very comparable to alcohol, the 3-tier system. You've had witnesses that represent manufacturers, distributors, and now retailers, and we had retailers. So we think this is a good, comprehensive way to deal with this issue.
Are there any questions for the witness? I've got one. So I know, like, the marijuana in the state is like really controlled, as far as, from the growing to the manufacturing to the retailing. What's the layers of control with this, so we're not getting like a kratom type situation where you have like a synthetic blend that you have no idea, and it could be coming from China? I mean, how does this work? What are the layers?
Well, the layers are similar to alcohol, where you've got manufacturers, distributors, and retailers, and through the course of that, being able to track what's in it, what ingredients there are, how it's prepared, the QR code on the can or the bottle, that you can look and see how this product has been prepared and what's in it. I think there's other legislation that the senator is working on dealing with these other synthetic materials.
This hemp can come from anywhere, right? This isn't just Missouri grown. This can come from...
Right. That's one thing that's a distinction here, because the marijuana industry, everything has to happen in Missouri.
Right.
So you don't have interstate commerce issues at all. Here, that's just not the case. It is happening in other states, and what the federal government decides is going to decide this issue for Missouri. If they decide that it's...
No, I'm just curious, and maybe somebody else could tell me, but if this is like, this has to be like an organic, like hemp, or it can be like an inorganic, like something...
I think for us as a company, that's...
where they call it hemp,
right. For us, we're in the organic arena. I don't know how this legislation really impacts that one way or the other, but just for Total Wine and More, that we do care about that. We pay attention to it, and we need to understand what's in it and how it's prepared before we sell it.
Yeah, because the safety part to me is what is concerning, because I don't like some of this stuff. You can go to the gas station and buy this so-called weed, and it's made in a lab in China somewhere.
Right. Sure.
Can I? Yeah, go ahead.
I couldn't agree with you more. I've actually filed a bill already on that. You're talking about 7-OH, and that's the stuff that's really bad. I think almost everybody agrees 7-OH is a real problem. I've got another bill because I think we need to ban that, and it's a derivative of kratom, but it's when they synthesize it. I won't get into to a lot of, I've learned more than I think I probably wanted to know about it, but and, you know, some people refer to it as gas station heroin. And
That's what it
this
is.
bill is not allowing those type of things. That I wouldn't have done the bill if I thought we were doing that. We're trying to put more regulation in here with this because people are doing it, and so if we can regulate more and keep it out of the hands of kids, that's what we're trying to do. Sorry.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Any other questions? All right. Hearing none. Next witness to testify in favor of the bill whenever you're ready. Are there any witnesses to testify in opposition to the bill whenever you're ready? Whenever you're ready, Tommy, go ahead.
Good morning. Thank you, Chair. Tom Robbins from Mocan Trade, very somberly opposing Senate Bill 993. We have deep respect for Senator Henderson, and we know he's a man of his word. The language in Senate Bill 993 suggests that the commitment was made to this bill before Congress enacted the new hemp definition in November 25. Back in November, Congress enacted a new hemp definition that is consistent with the congressional record back in 2018 that we've been talking about, and that is deregulating hemp because it's non-intoxicating and not subjecting it to the same rigors of marijuana, which is. So in order to better with more science and understanding, Congress decided to amend the hemp definition from 0.3% Delta-9 THC to 0.3% total THC. But more relevant for this discussion is the second layer element that has to be met, and that is 0.4 milligrams max total THC per container for any finished good, including, of course, beverages. It banned synthetic cannabinoids, and it bans interstate commerce of hemp harvested for intoxicating purposes because that is, in fact, then deemed marijuana under federal law. So 993 fails under the Supremacy Clause to the extent it authorizes 10 milligram beverages, more than 20x the current the threshold that's set, authorizes artificially derived cannabinoids, which is artificially derived, they're synthetic. And then also, while certainly an improvement from sourcing from China and outside the United States, but the laws of 11, 12, 26 would preclude interstate commerce. And so even the language that says it needs to be sourced in the United States was obviously a great improvement, but it still would run afoul of the new congressional law. Now, I checked the congressional record for why they did a year delay, and there isn't any discussion. So I can assure you that it's a Rorschach test. It's everybody gets up here and reads into it what they want. But if I'm betting and I'm taking the over/under on whether Congress, after 7 years, they finally close the loophole, you know, maybe lightning will strike and they'll get it together and amend this. But can you imagine them reversing course in a matter of months and saying, oh, 0.4 milligrams, let's go 20x up there to 10. It's just, I mean, maybe it'll happen. But what the proponents are requesting is that you expend significant state resources to set up a contingent, highly regulated framework on the hope and prayer that Congress either kicks the can down the road or dramatically amends the law. So, we then stand as a result in opposition, as much as we do have deep affection for the senator, and we also have no animosity toward the folks that want to get in this. I understand, but at the end of the day, after 11/12 of this year, it won't be a hemp derived beverage. It'll just be straight up marijuana, and so. The U.S. Supremacy Clause forbids a state from calling hemp what the feds have preempted the field and called marijuana. That's it. You only get two options. You either have federally lawful hemp, pursuant to the new law on 11/12/26, or state-authorized marijuana. These products would fall under the marijuana bucket, but our program wisely, years ago, banned synthetic conversions. And so these products wouldn't be available to the extent that they are converted synthetically. So it's not so much a value judgment as this is how our nation of laws work, and I don't enjoy playing Darth Vader all the time, so I'm happy to answer any questions.
Well, I mean, I realize this is for the beverages, but what is going to stop it from, if this happens, to keeping it where you can like get the smoking kind or gummies or whatever? I mean, where does this stop?
What do you? How do you mean?
Well, if they started carrying hemp drinks in gas stations or liquor stores or whatever, what's going to stop them from turning into basically a dispensary for hemp? With other
yeah,
products
that's the current situation that Congress sought to resolve with the amended hemp definition. Exactly. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, because
Any questions? All right, seeing none.
all right. Thank you.
Any other witnesses testify in opposition to? Whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Jake Silverman, registered lobbyist for Missouri Hemp Trade Association. We want to respectfully testify in opposition to this bill. Like Mr. Leone said, we also believe that there needs to be a full spectrum of these products, whether that's gummies. We have full respect for the beverages and those that sell them. We just feel that this needs to be a broader conversation to allow for more products. We respect what the senator is doing and trying to bring regulation and protect the consumers. We feel the same way. We've proposed legislation, or we've had legislation proposed that does just that with the full spectrum of products. But as we see it, there might not be enough demand from the beverages to warrant something like this. So we would just like to see a broader spectrum while at the same time protecting consumers.
Any questions for the witness? Hearing none, are there any other witnesses testify in opposition to? Any witnesses to testify for informational purposes only?
Hi, my name is Kara Grady. My husband just testified. I'm the owner of Slap Happy Emporium. We were in support of this bill, but I would like to just bring attention to some of the things they were talking about, packaging that are not favorable to children. Well, what about the Sunny D and the hard seltzer and the Mountain Dew? Children drink those every day, and if a child accidentally takes one of those out of the refrigerator, they're going to get drunk or whatever. But that's just, I want to make that distinction that there are alcohol products that are, favorable to children. I think that most places, in my opinion, are making sure that 21. We also make sure that individuals that partake in our stuff are 21. So I think that with work, there's work. Sorry, I'm nervous. There's room for everybody. So not just one side should have it. It should be both sides. So thank you.
Ma'am, if you could fill out a witness form if you want your testimony to be in public record for us, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other witnesses testify for informational purposes only? All right. Senator, do you have any closing comments?
No, thank you very much for hearing the bill.
All right, thank you. Next up, Senate Bill 1233. Senator Trent, whenever you're ready. Oh, there he is. Sorry, whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Curtis Trent, representing Senate District 20. This bill is an attempt to solve a problem of an insufficient number of CPAs in Missouri, as the existing workforce is retiring more quickly than new CPAs are beginning practice. It does so by creating a new license avenue for licensure while preserving the existing cross-border practice opportunities that already exist. This new avenue for licensure requires a bachelor's degree combined with 2 years of relevant practice experience, and existing licensure avenues will remain the same. All candidates, regardless of what pathway they choose to utilize, must pass the same uniform CPA examination. 28 states have enacted similar reforms. This is a very important practice for the state of Missouri. Many Missourians, and especially small businesses, rely on the ready availability of such services. So I'd be happy to answer any questions by the committee. And I think we also have a couple of expert witnesses here today.
All right. Thanks, Senator. Are there any questions for Senator Trent? Senator Berger.
Senator, just one question. What does this actually change as to what we're doing right now?
So it just creates essentially the main feature is a new avenue to become licensed. So right now, there are a variety of ways to do it, but there is no 2-year experience plus bachelor's degree pathway, and that's what we're creating.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, hearing none. First witness up to testify in favor of the bill whenever you're ready.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. For the record, my name is Jeffrey Ward, based out of St. Louis. I passed the CPA exam in 1988, seems like a long time ago. But I have worked for 3 of the top 25 CPA firms currently with Aprio, LLP, a partner in the risk advisory insurance services. There's clearly a national trend of states looking into these types of adding the third pathway that the senator commented on. So if you look at what's the driving force, we're clearly looking to lower the bureaucracy, reduce the bordered entry into the profession. And this does not dilute at all the fact that you have to pass the CPA exam, the Uniform National Exam. That's cornerstone to this third pathway as well. So it will be a 2-year experience requirement to get licensed if you just do the bachelor degree. As part of my service to the profession, I also serve as the vice chair for the Missouri CPA Society. And part of our Blue Ribbon Committee was to look at these consequences for adding the third barrier. And we're clearly, as the senator mentioned, looking at our pipeline of qualified candidates. So the qualification is still imperative to what we're doing, since we opine a lot on financial information, so there's a lot of ethics and integrity that's cornerstone to what we're doing. So it's important that we didn't dilute that at all. So if you think about the equation, we're adding 1 year of experience to go from 1 year to 2 by reducing the 30 months. So we're not looking at diluting any of the accounting curriculum that's required, so you still generally get the same level of education, added year of experience. The other thing I would add, in addition to what the senator mentioned, with the boomers retiring and things like that affecting the profession, is clearly the expansion of services that CPAs offer. Back in the days of the 88 and 90s, when I first joined, you're pretty much either in tax or financial audit and consulting. There was kind of the 3 buckets, and things have really matured with the explosion in technology. So there's a definite need for more people in our profession. So with that, I'll just take questions for you.
Well, thank you for your testimony. Any questions for this witness? All right, hearing none, next witness to testify in favor of whenever you're ready.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, for the record, Brandon Alexander, Chief of Staff for State Auditor Scott Fitzpatrick. Much like the previous witness, 1988 was an important year in my life, too. It was when I was born, so I thought I'd just flag that for everyone's attention. Putting that joke aside, we are in kind of a dire situation when it comes to CPAs holistically as a nation, but also within the auditor's office itself. If you go back just a little over 10 years in the state auditor's office, we had 41 CPAs on staff. Fast forward to today, we have 19 CPAs, and 13 of those 19 CPAs are either already retired and coming back and working part-time in our office, or they're eligible to retire within the next 10 years. So that creates quite a bit of a problem in our office, because statute requires that we have CPAs that review our audit work to meet the government auditing standards that we conduct our work under. So with that, if there's any questions, I'd be happy to take them, but support getting more CPAs in the pipeline. Selfishly for the auditor's office, so we have more to pick from, but holistically for the profession itself.
Thank you for your testimony. Are there questions for the witness? All right, hearing none. Are there any other witnesses testify in favor of the bill? Any witnesses testify in opposition to? For informational purposes only. All right, Senator, do you have any final closing comments?
No, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you. Next up is Senate Bill 1092. Senator Lewis, whenever you're ready.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and distinguished members of the committee. For the record, I am Senator Patty Lewis, representing Senate District 7 in Jackson County. Thank you very much for the opportunity to present Senate Bill 1092, which allows social workers to supervise after 3 years of practice instead of current law, which is 5. I do have a one-pager that's on your desk, and I'll kind of go through some of the highlights there. But before we dive into the details of the bill, I think it's really important to understand the current status of healthcare and mental health care here in Missouri. Basically, there's a lot of room for improvement in that area. Missouri is ranked number 42 in the nation when it comes to mental health care deserts. Nearly every county in the state of Missouri is designated a health professional shortage area. All 99 rural counties are mental health professional shortage areas. We have a shortage of social workers, and it's difficult for our constituents to get the care they need. So what this bill does, first of all, just explaining the social work supervisor. Missouri has one of the longest waiting periods for social workers to become a supervisor. This creates limitation on the number of supervisors in the state who can help our new clinicians get entered into the field. Under current law, in Missouri, to become a social work supervisor, you must be licensed and practice independently for 5 years. This makes us one of only 4 states that require 3 or more years of practice. So what are the other states doing? There are 11 states that have less than 2 years of practice. There are 6 states that have 2 years, require 2 years. There's 11 states that require 3 years, 1 state that's 4, and 3 that have 5. The remaining 18 states that aren't listed on your one-pager, they don't have state statute that dictates the number of years before a social worker can be a supervisor. So just to be clear, this is not a scope of practice change. It does not change any of the licensure or education requirements. It just aligns with the majority of other states are doing, puts us in the middle where Missouri likes to be. So with that, I want to point out there's no fiscal impact, and there is bipartisan support. Senator Trent has 1417, the same bill, and Representative Tara Peters in the House has House Bill 1963. So with that, happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Senator. Are there any questions for Senator Lewis? I think that you had mentioned yesterday, too, that you might want to consider voting this out consent.
Yes.
Yeah, so you might keep that in mind through the process here. The witnesses testify in favor of the bill. Whenever you're ready, please come forward.
Thank you. Chair, members of the committee, Jessica Petrie Telemock here on behalf of both the National Association of Social Workers, Missouri chapter, and Burrell Behavioral Health. So we've got the association representing the social workers themselves and a large behavioral health employer that works with a lot of social workers. And we have heard from social workers, from social work educators, from employers that one of the biggest challenges in bringing new, especially clinicians into the field, is that we have such a strict waiting period before you can supervise new folks that want to enter the profession. 5 years is a really long time, and it doesn't necessarily make you any better at the work by waiting those extra years. So this is a small way we can reduce a regulatory burden, take it down to 3 years. Certainly not a silver bullet to our mental health workforce crisis, but a small, important step we can take to help new clinicians enter the field and reduce that bottleneck. So we really appreciate Senator Lewis and Senator Trent tag teaming this. Happy to take any questions.
All right, thank you for your testimony. Any questions for the witness? Hearing none, are there any witnesses testify in favor of the bill whenever you're ready?
Chair, members of the committee, Henry Telemock, the lesser Telemock apparently, to go in support of Senator Lewis's bill here for the Assisted Recovery Centers of America and Gibson Behavioral Health. We both work, both groups focus on behavioral health and substance use disorder. We work with social workers quite often. They are imperative to the work that we do. So we support the senator's measure in trying to pass this and Senator Trent's measure to try and pass this as well.
All right, thank you for your testimony. Are there any questions for the witness? Hearing none, are there any other witnesses testify in favor of the bill? Any witnesses to testify in opposition to the bill? For informational purposes only. Senator, do you have any final remarks?
No, thank you very much
All
for your
right.
time.
I think that's it. With no further business come for the meeting, I entertain a motion to adjourn. Second. We have a second. We're adjourned.